Hello friends, and welcome to a brand new camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S23 and the iPhone 14. Right now we are recording at 4K at 30 frames per second. Tell me in the comment section below which one do you think has a better audio, which one has better colors, and which one has a better stabilization. Starting with some samples with our main cameras, and as per usual every daylight picture is taken in auto mode without adjusting any of the settings. In this first case we can see both devices are really good, but their colors differ, since the S23 has a cooler tone while the iPhone is warmer. When we crop in, both are still very sharp and usable. In my eyes the Galaxy seems to be a little bit sharper, but the iPhone isn't bad either. Moving to a next scene, and once again the iPhone seems to have warmer colors and it is overall slightly brighter. I do however prefer the Galaxy S23. And since it was a cloudy day, surprisingly it represents the scene how it was in real life. While looking at these images side by side, I saw that the Galaxy handles the sky better compared to the iPhone. Here for example it is much better preserved on the S23, while on the iPhone 14 it doesn't look as good. Another difference between these devices is in highlighting darker areas, like in this case where the trees and leaves are much brighter on the Galaxy, and I prefer it over the iPhone. The grass has also a different hue on the iPhone compared to the Galaxy. When we take regular pictures with people on the frame, I think the iPhone does a better job on highlighting the face, but with the cost of overexposing other parts of the picture. Her coat for example is too bright on the iPhone, while it is perfectly preserved on the S23. If we crop in, you can see the Galaxy S23 is doing a much better job on retaining the details of her face, and also her hair is very sharp. On the iPhone 14 her hair stripes are blurred, even though this picture isn't even a portrait. These devices are also equipped with ultrawide cameras, and in this case they seem to me identical. The colors and the dynamic range are so similar I thought it really was the same image. The differences however are more pronounced in other scenes like here. The iPhone continues to be a little bit brighter, but the lighter colors are slightly overexposed, while the Galaxy is doing a better job on keeping them natural. To me this is a big surprise, since last year the S22 did struggle with overexposing. In some samples the pictures taken with the S23 are more processed and ready to be posted in social media. The iPhone 14 pictures on the other hand are good too, but they need a little bit of work if you want to post them. Just like with their main cameras, the Galaxy S23 is doing a better job on highlighting darker areas. The difference in this case is big, since every tree is more visible on the S23 compared to the iPhone 14. One area where the S23 outperforms the iPhone 14 is with zoom, since it has a dedicated 3x telephoto camera. Just as expected, its pictures are sharper compared to the ones taken with the iPhone. Credits to Samsung for offering the telephoto camera even with its cheapest model, and with the S23 this camera is optimized very well. The iPhone 14 on the other hand does a good job with digital zoom, and its pictures are usable, but it just can't beat the optical zoom of the S23. When it comes to portraits, both devices do a great job on highlighting faces, but just like before her coat is too bright on the iPhone, and in real life it is just how it is shown on the S23. When we crop in, you can see the Galaxy has done an amazing job with edge detection. Her hair stripes are perfectly preserved, while the iPhone didn't do that good of a job on keeping her hair in focus. With this other portrait sample, once again both devices are amazing. Even though iPhones aren't the best when it comes to edge detection, they really shine with the subjects. I was however really surprised with the S23, and I think it is just as good as the iPhone. After many years, Samsung decided to finally bump up the resolution on the front camera, and now it matches the iPhone 14 with 12 megapixels. When it comes to skin colors, both are very close, but in real life she looks somewhere in between. In other samples like here for example, I think the S23 is doing a better job by offering an overall sharper picture. When recording 4K videos with their main cameras, these devices are amazing, They do differ in colors, but the stabilization and the dynamic range are excellent on both. iPhones have always been ahead for videos, but the S23 seems to be doing just as good. Even when recording with their ultra-wide cameras, to me they seem very similar if not identical. The iPhone 14 is slightly wider, but other than that I don't see many differences. Their color tone seems to be different, but to me there isn't a clear winner here. Since the S23 has a dedicated telephoto sensor, videos at 3x are sharper than the iPhone, and the difference is bigger compared to pictures. The stabilization isn't as good on the S23, but I would choose a telephoto over digital zoom any day. Moving to low light, and from now on every picture is taken with night mode enabled. In this first example you can immediately notice the improvements on the S23. Her face is bright and very detailed, while on the iPhone those details have been lost. In this other sample the iPhone is much better than before, but in my eyes the Galaxy is still doing a better job, even though its picture isn't as bright as the iPhone 14. When switching to their main cameras I noticed that the pictures taken with the Galaxy in most samples are brighter. Even though brighter doesn't always mean better, in this case I really think it is, since everything is more visible. In other samples the differences were minimal or even non-existent, like here for example. I did zoom in on these images, and even though the Galaxy is slightly brighter, they are very similar. Just like in daylight, the iPhone overall takes pictures with warmer colors, while the Galaxy is cooler. Both are honestly great, and it is just a matter of preference which one you like. When there were plenty of light sources around, they had different implementations of the night mode. The iPhone is now much brighter, but it doesn't seem to be that sharp. The Galaxy on the other hand isn't as bright, but everything on the scene is more refined. With their ultra-wide cameras they are more on par with each other with colors and details, but if you look at the lights on the tree, only the iPhone does a great job on handling them. The Galaxy S23 shines when light sources aren't as present, like in this case where it outperforms the iPhone 14 in every single way. It is sharper, brighter, and the lights are handled much better. This wasn't the case in every scene, and most of the times they were both really good and I couldn't pick a winner. Sometimes I like the iPhone more, and sometimes I prefer the Galaxy, but overall whichever device you'll end up choosing you will be happy with its cameras. A clear winner for me at zoom is of course the S23. Naturally its pictures are very detailed, while the pictures taken with the iPhone have a lot of noise. Samsung has been offering telephoto sensors with their flagships for a while, but at night time in many scenes they couldn't be activated when the light sources weren't that present. This seems to be different with the S23, since during my testing the telephoto camera was activated every time, even when there were almost no lights at all. The iPhone 14 is good for a digital zoom, but the S23 is just amazing. When it comes to portraits in low light I think the S23 is just incredible. As you can see, her face and her hair are much better preserved on the Galaxy, and while the iPhone is really good too, it just can't match the S23. So guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below which one was your winner. For me the S23 was better in more cases, but the iPhone 14 wasn't that far behind. If you did enjoy this video, a thumbs up would be appreciated. Thank you for watching, and for more content like this please consider subscribing to my channel.